All right, viewers, hello and welcome to the very first test match between the Australian representative Crocs and the Hayate Japan. My name is Max Halden and I'm joined on the stream by Kylie O'Brien. How are you going, Kylie?
Very well, Max. Very excited.
Yes, this is going to be an exciting game. So we'll start by introducing ourselves a little bit. My name is Max. I've been playing for about a decade now. I'm the current co-coach of the Australian under-23 mixed team. We'll be representing Australia in 2018. Kylie, I won't let you. You don't have to embarrass yourself. I'll embarrass you for you.
Appreciate it.
Kylie is, of course, was the the assistant coach of the Firetails in 2016, the coach in 2012, and played in 1996. So has a storied history with Australian Ultimate.
Yeah, pretty excited about tonight. I mean, the crowd's starting to come in. The weather, having been beautiful in Sydney for the last 3 weeks, hasn't done us any favours tonight. But at the moment, the rain's coming down, but pretty lightly. So not going to be enough to bother these two teams, I think, with the calibre that we're going to see out there tonight.
Yes, and we've got the full stadium set up. We're, of course, coming to you live from Leichhardt Oval in beautiful Sydney, Australia. Of course, not so beautiful, as you alluded to, Kylie, but home of the Tigers, a good NRL team. We'll be going to two Tigers home grounds. The test match in Melbourne will be at Punt Road Oval, which is, of course, in Melbourne is the home of the Richmond Tigers in the AFL. So
worked out perfectly.
I know, hasn't it just? So we're going to be going soon to the rosters of both teams, but tonight these teams are just so strong, Kylie. It is amazing the quality we've got coming out on the pitch tonight.
I'm so looking forward to this game, and I think, these teams have a fantastic history, both at the World Games level and also at World Ultimate Guts Championships. So it just should be such a close game tonight, and I think, the crowd here is absolutely going to be looking for a spectacle.
Yeah, they are filing in as we speak. We're expecting maybe up to 2,000 people to come. Of course, numbers may be a little bit affected. Some of you may have opted for the stream option because of the weather tonight in Sydney, and we thank you very much for joining us live around the world on the Ultimate Frisbee Australia YouTube channel. So, Kylie, let's have a chat here. The game is obviously on at 7:30. What have the warm-ups looked like for the two teams?
Well, not surprisingly, the Japanese warm-up has been a lot longer. Something that they're known for. They break their warm-up into stages. So they've been out already a good 45 minutes to an hour ago. They've just come back out of the sheds now. The Australian team has had a shorter warm-up, but still high quality and pretty intense, and that seems to be the way of Australian teams as well.
Very true. Now, I'm excited to say that we're not alone in the commentary box this evening. So tonight we're joined by Rob Swan and Andrew Wood, both of whom will be taking stats on tonight's game. They'll be taking stats on both test matches. So we're going to go to them now for just a quick interview. So, Rob, welcome to the stream. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here. I'm absolutely excited for this game. It promises to be a cracker.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about, what the stat-taking program that you guys have developed. I know it's been a long time in the making. Could you tell us a little about the history of getting here for you guys?
Yeah, so we're Rob and Andy, and we take stats. We are Ultimate players. We played together with Bench from Sydney. And last year in 2016 at the National Championships, we lost 3 games on Universe Point in a row. And we wanted to find something that we could do better and do different. And one of the obvious answers for us was stats. We didn't know, no one else in our club was doing it at the time. And we thought we could do it well. It's been a long road since then.
Oh, that's very exciting. So, what are you guys looking for tonight? In terms of stats, what are you going to be looking at specifically that you think is going to be kind of game-defining statistics?
So, it's tempting to think about the conditions and that they might affect play, but the wind is not too significant. So, And these teams are really, really good. All of these players should be able to get it done in this win. So I don't think something like number of passes is going to be too big of a factor. Obviously, we're looking for which teams have the most efficient offense, but realistically, I think it's going to come down to what are the key stats, like how many blocks can each team get to give themselves an opportunity to get a break, because these teams are going to be clinical on offense.
Yeah, awesome. So, yeah. So, are there any other like what kind of numbers are we gonna hear from you throughout the broadcast?
So, our stat taking program and us, we're going to record every event that happens, every throw, every touch, every goal, and from that we can pull everything that you might expect. Touches, assists, goals are the easy ones that we've got. We're also looking at things like offensive holds, defensive breaks, and the rate at which those teams happen.
Awesome. And I know if there's any particularly nerdy people out there, I know that they can actually get access live to your information. So how do people go about finding that?
So the stats will be updated live on a Google Sheet that we've posted in the Facebook event, and we'll spread around social media across the game. Those will be updated at the end of every point, and so you'll be able to see that as it happens there.
Oh my God, that's awesome. All right, well, I mean, Rob, we're going to be crossing to you and Andy, Rat Stats as you guys are called. We're going to be crossing to you a few times throughout the broadcast, so thanks for your time now. Awesome. Okay, cool. And as we look at Team Australia warming up, it's certainly when we talk about statistics, one very interesting thing, there'll be a quick acknowledgement of the owners of the land. Awesome. Cool. And yeah, the one of the key stats tonight, Kylie, that it's going to be crucial. This 13-point game is what we're playing tonight. Only 13 points.
Yeah, I think, well, that's what the teams play to at World Games, so I think there's trying to replicate that. But I think there has been some talk that potentially the game might be extended by a couple of points, so we'll have to confirm that and come back to you. But
okay.
I think they just want to make sure that this spectacle goes on for a long time, and that we really reward the crowd that's come out tonight, and make sure that they really get the most bang for their buck.
Yeah, awesome. Well, maybe let's have a quick chat now about the history of the two teams. They've both powerhouses of Australian Ultimate. So, I mean, you want to have a quick chat about how they've been in the past at World Games specifically?
Yeah. So, in terms of Japan, they have been in World Games every year since Ultimate's been part of the competition. So first happened in 2001 in Japan, and every 4 years they've been there. So Australia didn't qualify for the first one in 2001, but have been there since 2005. So the two teams have met 3 times, and each time Australia's been victorious, but very, very close scores. So back in 2005, they won 13-9. Fast forward to 2009, they won 13-12, and most recent win in 2013 in Colombia was 13-10. So, if those scores are a pretty good indication that we're in for a close game tonight.
Amazing. So it's just we're just having a few technical issues with the stream. So we're just going to. So we're just waiting on the arrival of both teams. They've just popped back into the sheds. Now, what are we going into now? We now in the sheds, of course. What's happened earlier, Kylie?
Yeah, I think there's been a really great tradition for the Crocs, and they've had past captains present their jerseys tonight, which I think has been a really nice touch and really special for the players. So Jonathan Potts, current AFDA president, was captain in 2005, so he's presented jerseys. And then Diana Warman and Jono Holmes, who were captains in 2009, have also done jersey presentations and just shared some of their experiences of what the Crocs meant to them, to the current players. And I think that's been really appreciated by the players, and just added that little bit of excitement for them for the night.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you can't overstate that. These really are the best.
Did the Crocs in 2005, where she was the vice captain back then even. Back again in 2013, and along with Peter Blakely captaining the Crocs.
Is now the captain in 2017. Isn't that amazing? I mean, took her 12 years to get that promotion, but I guess that's the grass ceiling in action. What can you do? Still, as you can see, the crowd is now really filing in. Yeah, and we're just waiting on the teams are now ready to enter Leichhardt Oval. Very exciting.
Fantastic. Yeah, and while we wait for them to come out, looking at the Japanese team, interestingly, they've just got one returning player this time around. So Ayumi Fujioka is back. I don't believe that she played at the last World Games, but she's played prior World Games to that. So, you know, experience could be a factor tonight in this game with the nerves kicking off. So it'll be interesting to see which team can adapt quickest.
Absolutely. It's a very interesting difference, and we'll definitely get into talking more about this. We may be interrupted by the entrance of the teams here, of course, but it is a very different style, this World Game style. You know, the points are shorter, the campaign is much shorter as well. The whole thing is a very condensed elite ultimate experience, and all these guys have experience at Worlds. I mean, every player except for one on the Australian team has represented their country before, and I'm quite sure almost all the Japanese players have as well. So it's but it's still such a different experience to be in this World Games format.
Oh, absolutely. I think interestingly, across both teams, their World Games players have come from all three divisions at the last WGC 2016 competition. So mixed, open and women's representatives from both across Team Japan and the Crocs. So it just shows the strength of players across all three divisions.
Absolutely. And I know from talking, you know, one big adjustment that the Australian teams will need to be making is that if for those international viewers who aren't aware, we've just come off the back of the single-gender national season in Australia. It's run separately to the mixed season, which is not necessarily the same across the world. And I know it was actually quite a tough adjustment for a lot of these players to move back into mixed. The pace is different, the style is different. So that's certainly an adjustment that all players will be having to make, both the Australian and the Japanese teams.
Yeah, and as you said before, Max, the points are often very short, and we have had confirmation that the game is 2-13. So both teams obviously keen to replicate that World Games style scoring system. So, you know, we're expecting maybe the conditions will have a little bit of impact, but should expect to see a lot of fast-paced action.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. Even this weather, I'm sure, will not slow these teams down on the field at all. I'm sure they're used to playing through conditions such as these ones.
Yeah, and if we look at the way that the teams have qualified for World Games, and as Max said, we're waiting for the teams to come out. So as soon as that happens, that's where the focus will be, and we'll change tack for a minute. But for World Games, the USA obviously very dominant at WGC. And so they've come out as the top ranking. Australia's come in second, qualified second, and Japan's qualified fourth. Now we've just got the game advisors coming out, so we'll turn our focus there.
Chris Stevens and Lucy Alexander will be our game advisors tonight. Very exciting honor for those guys.
From Team Japan, number 1, Harito HASHIGUCHI. Number 5, Kana KOBAYASHI.
So we have the Team Japan coming out now.
Number 8, Ayumi FUJIOKA.
And how exciting for these guys to come out, have the crowd, give them a bit of a roar.
Number 9, Takaharu KOMORI. Number 11, Takayuki YAMAGUCHI. Number 15, Saori INOUE.
Oh, giving a big bow to the crowd.
Bit of flair.
Number 16, Tomoe TAMURA.
Oh, yes. Salutes the crowd as she comes in.
Number 17, Risa SHIMADA.
Tamura and Shimada are teammates on mud.
Number 19, Masashi KOIKE. Number 22, Taku HONNA. Number 25, Kenjiro KAWASE. Number 12, Yuki Hirai. Number 31, Yuko Sato. Number 39, Tomoko INAMURA. Number 77, Yuta SHIMURA. Number 91, Shiori OGAWA. And number 85, Tatsunari KUNIEDA.
Kunieda, the only non-Japanese born Japanese player, born in California of the United States.
For the Australian team, number 1, Lochlan WISE.
Time for the Australian team to come out. I think you'll hear the crowd really amp it up now.
Oh, bit of a false start from Lachlan White.
Number 5, Vivien STETTNER. Number 6, Calan SPIELMAN.
And here they come, starting with Calan SPIELMAN.
Number 7.
So Callan's not
Brendan
actually playing
ASHCROFT.
tonight, hence him walking out to the field, still recovering from injury.
Number 9, Alex PRENTICE.
And I believe Vivien Stetner will be playing tomorrow, on Sunday, down in Melbourne, but not here tonight either.
Number 11, Kim SPRAGG.
Oh, Seb with the crowd pleaser. He's been practicing his Japanese, so
Number 13, Rebecca BRERETON. Number 14, Mark Evans.
Big cheer for Mark Evans, hometown boy.
Number 17, Michelle PHILLIPS.
Japanese team excited to see Michelle.
Number 23, Peter BLAKELEY. Number 25, Rob Andrews.
Another hometown hero in Rob Andrews.
Number 28, Rosie DAWSON.
Rosie as well, a Sydney sider.
oh,
Number
don't say that,
31,
Max. She's from
Alex
Wollongong.
LADOMATOS. Number 35, Catherine PHILLIPS. Number 44, Sarah Wentworth. Number 45, Mark Isherwood. Number 53, Michaela Dignam. Number 70, Adelaide Dennis. Number 85, Tom Tarrant. Let's put our hands together once again for the game Japan-Australia. And now let's all enjoy the Japanese anthem.
Ground announcers just trying to find the Japanese national anthem now.
So I heard Japan has a present for the Australian team.
And now the Japanese team now moving across, presenting some of the Australian athletes with a disc. Nice little shaking of the hands. And they'll
And now let's enjoy the Australian anthem. Let's put our hands together once again for all the coaching staff and all the volunteers for the University of Sydney.
Wonderful. All right, and that concludes the official ceremony, but now the Australian team will go over and high-five their Japanese counterparts. Nice little show of spirit there at the start.
Absolutely. We still have people streaming into the ground as well, which is excellent.
Yes, absolutely. The weather in Sydney, the traffic's always a nightmare, as you know well, Kylie. So, sure there'll be plenty of people still coming in right up until that first pull, which is happening at 7:30. Well, was scheduled to happen at 7:30. Probably not more than about 5 or 10 minutes away from that now.
Texans here. I got discs. Got discs.
And now we've got Chris Stevens is mic'd
Could I have
up.
the team captain, please, for the toss?
Our game advisor, bringing both of the captains over.
Okay. I'll just quickly, briefly explain. Game to 13, half at 7. There's a 20-minute half time, which isn't included in the time cap, and the time cap's 80 minutes. So we'll be doing 2 tosses, one for the ends and offense, defense, and then one for the first gender split. So, okay, toss. Yep. Very good. You go off defense? Defense, okay. And which end would you like? We'll take defense.
So
okay, well, one more flip. One more flip.
Team Japan winning the first toss, choosing to play defense.
First split.
Women.
Four women. Four women first point. 4 women first point.
Clean sweep for Japan. They're winning both tosses. And they've elected to go 4 women for the first point. So I believe we go with that gender split to start for the first point.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, it will be Japan starting on defense with 4 women in, I believe, the end zone to the right of screen when we get the stream, when that central camera comes up. And then we will be alternating from there. Alrighty, so let's have a look at the rosters for... we may in just a moment getting a graphic up for the rosters for both teams. But let's have a quick talk about that gender split. So it's going to be 4 women for the first point. Afterwards, 2 points of 4 boys. And then they'll alternate 2 and 2 from then on in. So we'll have almost an exactly equal gender split, which is a pretty exciting change to the rules over the last couple of years, Kylie.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's think it's a great change. It really gives both teams a chance to showcase all of the talent across their team, and you know, interesting for Japan to choose to go 4 women immediately on defense. I guess they think that that's a good advantage for them to start off with. So
yeah, and it's exciting to see teams basically. What I love about this is that it really takes it out of the hands of players to some extent, which is not something that we traditionally think in Ultimate. We think, oh, it's really good if we leave it in the hands of players, but it helps remove a lot of the biases that we come into with games and thinking about it. It just means we can stand aside, let the game occur, and really let gender equality kind of happen without having to put too much brain power into it, which I think is a real bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at the Japanese team at the moment, and I'm interested to see a few of the players not wearing gloves. This is traditionally not something that you see. Normally every player on the Japanese team would have gloves on. The vast majority of them do, but there's a couple of players that look like they're not wearing gloves, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes in these wet conditions.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, on the contrast, of course, on the Australian team, I think we'll see very few. At the moment, it's a 0 from what I can see based on the pre-game, but that may change as the conditions either better or worsen. We'll see. But at the moment, we're expecting it to stay roughly like this most of the game. There may be spells of slightly heavier rain. There may be spells of dryness, but it's going to be a wet one. Wind tonight, Kylie, not really a factor.
No, there's not too much wind out there. I think, if anything, the rain's probably going to have more of an impact than the wind. Both of these teams obviously got extremely strong throwers, and so even if the conditions were a little windier, we'd still expect it to have pretty minimal impact.
Agreed. So, I mean, you mentioned earlier, Kylie, at World Games, Australia has won the last 3 meetings they've had. Of course, they only met once at each tournament. Both Australia and Japan face each other in elimination games in each of the marquee divisions at World Ultimate Guts Championships in 2016, which is pretty huge. And it wasn't a Australians didn't have it all their way that time.
No, not at all. The Australian women played Japanese women in the quarterfinal, and the Japanese women were extremely strong in that game, and they were just very efficient with the way they played, and they took that quarterfinal out. Closer game to start with in the open division, where the teams met in the semi-final, but again, Japan ran away with that game in the end, and I think for anyone that saw the game that they played against the US in the final would agree that they were an extremely strong team.
Absolutely. And then in the mixed division,
in the mixed division, yeah, Australia had a fantastic win there in their quarterfinal, and then went on to beat Canada in the semi-final and come up against the US in the final. So, yeah, some really close tussles, and both teams have consistently performed well at the World Ultimate Guts Championships, and again, we're really looking forward to a super tight tussle tonight.
Absolutely. So both teams now, Japan just finalising their huddle. We have had the hooter at the field go. And the Australian team is on the other end taking the line. So we will be looking to go very shortly, which is very exciting in this first ever Australia versus Japan Test Match series. Pretty much a world first in terms of a WFDF sanctioned test match between 2 teams internationally, Kylie.
I know, it's so exciting. It looks like the Crocs have their line set. So I'm just looking along the line there. It looks like we've got Adelaide Dennis, Rosie Dawson, Peter Blakely, Cat Phillips. I think is that? Got a little bit of obstruction of vision there. Looks like Mark Evans, Seb Barr.
And we've got on... Yes. Well, I can talk a little bit. You got 28, 23. And it'll be the Japanese team, of course, starting on defense. So there'll be Australians. Great. So the Australian team's ready themselves. It'll be very interesting to see what Japan throws down in this very first point. Can be a real tone setter what you send. You know, a classic Australian team would probably send down a ferocious person-to-person match defense in a first point, but the Japanese, we probably wouldn't necessarily expect the same thing.
No, could be anything. Could be a zone, and often they'll have quite a poachy setup at the front. Not too worried about the mark, really just trying to make the other team throw a lot of passes. So it'll be fascinating to see what their defensive structure is right from the outset.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's an exciting line out there. And here we go, the very first pull of the first test match between Australia and Japan. The crowd is hyped up. We're hyped up. Thank you for joining us. It's Kat Phillips, who grabs the pull. It's Sebastian Barr. It's her first move. It's out of a Horo. And now it's Blakely, the captain, with the disc on the sideline. There's not a lot happening for him. Oh, the Japanese mark comes way off. Leads Blakely. It's a big cross-field throw. It's a pretty spectacular one, and it's perfectly weighted to number 35, Catherine PHILLIPS.
Wow. Great start from the Australians. I mean, the pressure was on immediately from the Japanese, wasn't it?
Yeah, really very clever marking from the Japanese. They put a lot of pressure on. There was no dump there for Sebastian Barr, but as you see on the replay, he's thrown that connection is a very familiar one for Barr and Catherine PHILLIPS, and that's a beautiful catch to start us off for Australia.
And that'll be a great confidence booster for them as well. You know, tricky conditions, lots of nerves, lots of adrenaline pumping through both teams. Feels pretty great to get that first offensive hold. Yeah, that's a really good start for the Australian team. And so they'll be now going the other direction. The gender ratio will now be 4 boys. So on the Australian line, we can see it's Andrews and Tullett. There's Wise. We've got Spragg is on the field. Brereton, and it'll be Rob Andrews who will be pulling out the ball, and the co-captain, of course, Wentworth. So for Japan, as we go across the line there, we can see that we've got Koike, and I apologize in advance for my pronunciation. I'm sure it's going to be terrible. We've got Fujioka. We have number 85, Kunieda. We had Kawase. Yeah, Kawase on the line there. Australians are down quickly, and they're straight into a bit of junk. The Japanese really love to move the disc quickly, so playing a bit of junk is definitely going to be a way that the Australians will try and slow them down. Expect to see lots of give-go movements from the Japanese here. And they've now transitioned to match defense. Oh, lots of pressure from the Australians. Stall count must have got quite high there, but the Japanese are patient. Oh, a big poach from Tullett. Oh, right in front of our screen, in front of our commentary here. Huge D there. Can the Australians convert now? Tullett fakes the deep throw. Straight across. Oh, big D from number 8. Nice work. Fujioka. She's the veteran on the team. And she's a smart player. She's always going to be up there in that area looking for opportunities to get the D. Big mark by Spragg. And again, lots of tight pressure. Oh, mix up there. Australians get another chance. Lockie Wise hits the trigger straight down the line to Rob Andrews. Wow. Wow, Australia able to get the early break. Looked like they'd lost their opportunity there for a moment after that great defense from Fujioka, but big pressure around the mark. Really stepped it up and gave themselves another chance. Absolutely. The Japanese are so disciplined there. You saw that stack on the sideline. And, other teams, you'd have a lot of people in movement. They really stuck to it. There are only 2 people in movement as we watch
Andrews. Smart throw out into space there. That was a good finish. But yeah, you really saw the Japanese that they stuck to that. They only had a few players in movement, and then the Australians put enough pressure on that final little dump pass. And as we said, the connections are a big factor here. Kylie, like we're gonna come back to that over and over again. I can tell.
Yeah, and I think the Japanese will always back themselves to get open in small spaces, and they're very good at doing that. But, you know, the Australians were up to the task then and really just amped up that pressure around the disc. And as you said, they have a few options and they really shut them down and caused that miscue.
Yeah, very, very smart work there. So it will be Isherwood now who will be pulling. We have, and it's going to be another point of 4 boys on the field. And a nice floaty pull, landing right on the end zone line. It's Japanese team fielding it to number 22. It's the same play as we saw in that last point, so quite similar. Number 17 on the far side, Shimada is poached. They hit her now. She's got a lot of space, and it looks like now it's the mix. They've transitioned. There's a bit of a gender mismatch, but a nice cross-field pass there to Tamura. Tamura sees number 39. That's Inamura working up the line. Tempting option there, but she dumps it back. We're now in the middle of the field. They're still playing quite a loose defense, the Australians, but they'll feel like they're going to lock it on now. The 39 just moving it through their handlers, being patient. It's number 19, Kyoki. They're knocking on the door now, Japan.
Oh!
And a massive heads-up block. That's number 10. Oh, sorry.
Adelaide Dennis,
Adelaide
number
Dennis.
70 with the block.
Huge. Oh, and a huge huck from Tullett. It's an exciting one. Oh!
That's a great grab there by Ashcroft.
Massive grab by Ashcroft. One of the fastest men in Australian Ultimate. Shows it there. Wow. Amazing.
Wow, the Australians will be very happy with this start.
That is huge. An amazing bid from Koike. As we and when we watch the replay, I'm sure we'll see he would have got a fingertip to that. But as we watch that
replay of Dennis.
Oh,
wow.
What amazing heads-up D! You know, she knew it was coming and just had to put her body where the disc was and nailed it. And then no hesitation from Tullett.
He just launches that disc.
Yeah, easily a 60-meter pass. As we watch it on replay, there is maybe just the slightest touch there from Koike, but it's Ashcroft who's in the right position.
Yeah, that was a fantastic bid down there as well, but you know, Ashcroft has a pretty amazing vertical leap, and he really had to use every centimetre there to get up above the Japanese player.
Absolutely. Ashcroft, of course, comes from a sprinting background, found Ultimate. He was actually looking for the athletics club at university. And
couldn't find it.
couldn't find it. There may still not be one, but the Ultimate club managed to get him instead, and he's been hooked ever since. So he's great for Australia to have someone with that kind of speed.
Yeah, not surprisingly, Japan's called a timeout. But if you watch the way that they were moving the disc down the field then, very typical traditional Japanese fast movement, lots of the little inside-out flicks, and then looking for that give-go down the line just into that power position. And they looked like they were in control all the way to the end zone, and then just push that last pass. And as you said, fantastic heads-up D by Dennis.
But yeah, just a bit of red line fever, which is very unusual for Japan. But just, I guess, in this kind of high-pressure environment, some new connections building as we go. And yeah, it's a bit of struggle. But as they come down, one thing that I think we'll see a few times in this test match, the Australian team won't be afraid to match up differently in terms of, traditionally when you collapse, you would try and find a player of the same gender to mark, but the Australians will be more than happy to just find the closest player to start with and then switch after that. There's something I know that they've talked about a little bit as a team, because, I mean, you can have confidence really with any of these players on the field that they can mark anybody for at least 20, 30 seconds.
Absolutely, and it just gives them a little bit more flexibility as well. And I think that's one of the key things that head coach Dan Rule's looking for in this team, is to just try some different things and see what works.
Absolutely. It's always been one of Rule's strengths is his ability to find some new and unique aspects of Ultimate to bring to Australia. So okay, it's 4 women this point. We're firmly in the gender switch now, and it's Japan now has it on their own end zone line. A hard match defense to start with. Oh, Andrews hunting a block. Nicely picked up there by the Japanese player on the sideline. Swings across to number 39. On a lot of space for the Japanese player. Beautiful inside out found there. And now they're moving freely, the Japanese players. Still looking for that strike deep.
Oh, that's more like the Japanese style play that we expect. Lots of quick movement, taking advantage of those short passes, looking for the longer opportunities if they're there, but really working their speed around the disc. And they made that one look easy, didn't they?
Yeah, that was beautiful. And exactly as you said, Kylie, just those inside outs were what killed the Australians, and it looked effortless for the Japanese, which is certainly more typical of their style. As we see again, these nice inside passes, using the momentum to carry them further into the break space to then even open up more space each time.
That'll give them a lot of confidence. You know, it's hard to go down 3-0 in a big game like this, and I think being able to get that first hold just slows down that momentum that the Australians had built and gives them a chance to reset now, come out on defense and try and get one of those breaks back.
Completely agree. And I know we talked about this a little bit, but a big factor for this, if it's a game to 13, there won't be as many momentum swings in a game to 13, you know.
Australia leading 3-1.
Letting a team
Japan
get up
with
3
the ball.
points, you don't have as many opportunities to claw it back as you would in a 15 or a 17-point game. So Japan very happy to get that one.
All right, we have Japan with the pull. Being picked up by Phillips, straight to Barr. And off to Blakely. That's a combination I'm sure we'll see plenty more of. Oh, bit of an overthrow. Oh, wow, that's a great pick up there.
Foul called.
Foul called. Isherwood picking up the scraps there. Back in play. Straight off to Phillips, Michelle Phillips. Blakely with the disc, looking for the break. Great defense there. Dennis just gets the open side. Can't. Again, Isherwood working hard. Oh, just one of those throws that comes out in the rain, the flick that slides out, and now Japan get that first chance to get one of those breaks back. Straight up the line again. Holds off on releasing the huck, and they're happy just to move it across the field. Australians playing some good match. Another overthrow. These conditions are a little bit tricky, and I think with the intensity of the defensive pressure, it's a little bit more concentration needed to make those completions. Great cut from Blakely. Launches.
Just got to hold.
And it's just going to hold for Dawson. Another combination that I think we'll see plenty of it at World Games.
Fantastic
and just another beautiful breakside backhand, boy to girl combo.
4-2, Australia
That
leading.
was really wonderful. A really smart mark there from the Australians, I think, definitely contributed to that block there. We saw Mish Phillips really stand off the mark, make it a much wider throw, and then in the end, it was the Japanese player couldn't run it down because of the width. So, as we watched it again, geez, out of the hand, I wasn't 100% sure it was
did look
staying
for a
in the
minute.
field.
Yeah, it did look for a minute like it was going out.
But
Dawson looked like she was pretty comfortable knowing where the sideline was.
yeah, really.
A couple of tippy toe steps at the end there to make sure she was in.
Yeah, always got to just show the crowd that it wasn't just in, it was properly in. Oh, but how about that grab from Isherwood in the middle there to keep it alive?
Yeah.
That was absolutely massive. And yeah, that was just one of the advantages that Australian teams generally will have over Japanese teams, just height. And of course, when height goes horizontal, that becomes length. So the length there was just a big help for Isherwood and for the Australian team. All right, so it's the Australians now with another opportunity on defense, and the Japanese looking for an offensive hold.
Great pull.
Beautiful pull. And that we're now moving it across. Nice little jump. They're deep within their own end zone, the Australians. Sorry, the Japanese. 26 here. Hirai in the middle. They've got 8. They can't quite find the holes at the moment, the Japanese team. We'll see how long this holds. Nice grab there. Number 22 once again. And the Australians have transitioned to a match defense. There's a lot of pressure near the disc now. Oh, floaty one. There may be some call.
Foul call from Japan.
And yeah, just a little bit of contact on the way through. Rob just showing off his gym work there. Yeah, just no harm, but a foul. It's number 8, the veteran Fujioka in the middle of the field. A lot of pressure on that mark. Honna with the disc. Honna finds 26. That's Hirai. Apologies again for these pronunciations. Oh, beautiful inside out. Cheeky one there. Needed to lay out. Oh, and unfortunately it just slips out of Shimada's hands, number 17. And they're in movement now, the Australians. Tallett's found a big crossfield pass. Oh. Wow.
Wow, the Australians really capitalised on that turn with quick movement of their own. You know, they're really matching the Japanese for that speedy movement of the disc at the moment, which I'm sure the coaching staff would be really pleased with.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And this transition defense, we've seen it at least 3 times now. It's really kind of messed up the pull play, and then Japan has struggled occasionally to get the disc back, to get it back on the rails. Yeah,
and I think normally you'd see Japan very happy to make lots of passes, hundreds of passes if they need to get to the end zone, but it just feels like there's that little bit of extra pressure there at the moment. I'm sure they'll make their adjustment. Looks like there's got the whole team in there now having a chat. No doubt that they'll make that adjustment as they need to. But certainly the momentum is still very much in favour of the Australians.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Japan just taking a little bit of extra time there on that pull, just trying to reset themselves and, get it back on the rails.
So Australians with the disc, we're back to 4 boys and 3 women. Japanese set up their play again. Again, the Australians trying to slow down their progress. Japanese just happy moving it around, using the width of the field as they need to. There's that quick punch through the middle, and again, that's where they're really dangerous. Wow, that was an excellent attempt by Tullett. It's just slowed the Japanese players down again. Space is there when they need it, but the Australians are making them work hard for it. Right outside the end zone now, and there you have it.
That'll do.
Score there by Tamura.
A fantastic offense for Japan.
Interesting to see that once the Japanese players are able to move that disc wide and then get the Australians moving a little bit and disrupt their defensive play, that's when those opportunities down the middle are opening up, and the Japanese will take those every day of the week.
Interesting to see rules switch to a strategy of just zone defense all the way down the field. The Japanese probably in the end actually quite happy with that. So that may be the last time we see that defense again, but time will tell, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you can see that even when the Japanese team looked like they'd broken through, that the Australians were able to hold them up again outside that end zone. And then the Japanese gone back to their patient selves and being able to find those holes when they need to.
Very true. And it was interesting to see that the patience in that Japanese team is very unique. You know, have available options to them in the dump space, but look for something a little bit more damaging, a little bit more attacking, and then really it's then run and gun in those moments, and then the pace just goes from, you know, from hot to cold just seamlessly. So it'll be the Australians, but that pull just sailing out of bounds. Actually, more than just sailing out of bounds. So it'll be Australia who gets the dominant position in the middle of the field. Barr walking it up now. Australians coming out in a horizontal set, but with 5 upfield and only 2 behind. As the first move comes off, it's the captain, Barr. Bit of pressure from the Japanese player, but Blakely soaks it up. Oh, and a big pass through the middle. Just enough movement from the dump to dissuade Blakely from that one. Disc is right on the other sideline now. Barr movement. There's just some conversation. There may have been a call upfield. There's a pick being signaled by the game advisor in the bright yellow shirt. Disc is going to be coming back in on 3. It's number 28, Dawson, on the sideline with the disc. Finds Barr. Barr, no dump again. Blakely moving quickly. No meters gain on that one. Co-captains both cuts at the same time, but it's, oh, a nice little inside out. Back to Blakely. Him and Barr on every second pass at this moment. A little bit of traffic upfield. It's a nice little cut there. Oh, and there's just been a call upfield. It's Mish Phillips. Another big call. Number 17 with the disc on the sideline. Just be a conversation. Go back to the thrower. We're sending it back to the middle. With the disc. Just a conversation about whether it will stick with Barr or whether it's going back, but it will be with Barr. Evans in the dump position. Wentworth at the front of the stack. Now a nice little around to Evans. He does the Dylan Freechild, but the Japanese soak up the switch. Dawson back on the sideline. We've got Wentworth, but she's very open. A little bit suspiciously open. That's because of a pick-up field.
So the Australians in their vertical stack now, and we're seeing a few picks come about.
Yeah, very interesting. Evans. Oh, nice layout there.
Wow.
Oh, and again, they're playing it in this one tiny bit. It's going to be a cram hole. They get it around to Evans. He looks cross field. There's nothing for him at the moment. Dawson, the speedster. Barr in a small space. Gets it back. They move it around. Evans has nothing. It's Evans with the disc. He's got Wentworth. Wentworth bounces it off her head. Incredible grab. But a nice grab there. Geez, that's a lucky one. Blakely now. They've been knocking on the door. This is past 10, 11, 12 in this tiny corner. Oh, and a massive layout.
Wow.
Barr looks at his hands as though he's got a hole in them. Evans on the mites. This Japanese with the disc now. They get an opportunity. Number 91, that's Ogawa with the disc. Number 22, Honna. Oh, and unfortunately it's Yamaguchi who can't get the speed up to reel that one in.
Wow, the Japanese really increased the pressure on that defensive point, didn't they? They had a couple of close bids before they got the successful one.
Absolutely, and Australia just not having many options on those big swing passes. Smart marking by the Japanese, coming around, making those passes harder, and they just couldn't cram it in that cram hole like they've had a bit of success doing so far.
Hirai on the mark again. He was one of the players who was almost successful in his layout bid.
Yeah, and a masterful move there from Barr to get open up the line. It's now Barr and Evans. Wentworth, who had that spectacular grab before, finds. There we go. Evans airs it out, but there's no defender in sight, so Blakely brings it down pretty comfortably. Rosie now finds Argan, zings up the line, but the Japanese defender cuts that one off at the pass. So again, happy to run these dump sets, the Australians. Oh, and a huge backhand on the forehand side. And we'll just see who comes down with it. Oh, wow. Evans. Beautiful stuff.
I mean, look, that's a great grab from Evans, but I'm not sure that the coaching staff are going to be loving that point.
Yeah, and that's the one where the coach says, look, I don't want to take it. We'll take it, but I don't want to reward it.
And again, I think a lot of that's coming from the Japanese pressure. You know, they really amped it up there. Yamaguchi with a huge D in the middle of that point.
Oof. And the backhand on the forehand side, no pivot. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if you air it out with an Australian versus Japanese team, chances say that if it's a pack grab, the Australians are going to come down with it. And we talked about gloves. Mark Evans with the catching glove.
Just the one glove for Mark Evans.
Yeah. It's always in him. His inimitable style shows itself again. And in front of a hometown crowd, that's a great grab.
He's pretty happy with that one, do you think?
I think he's very happy with that. Evans, of course, me and him started at the same time at North Sydney Boys High School. And he's just gone on to really, really great things. Spent a bit of time at UNC in Wilmington, and I'm sure some of his teammates, the Seamen, will be watching tonight. So shout out to those guys if they're watching.
So we're 6-2 now. Japan really looking to consolidate this offensive point.
And halftime is at 7, so there is an opportunity for us to go to half here if the Australian team score.
Oh, great chase down by Andrews, but Japanese team weathers the storm. Fujioka, just with ease over the top of the zone there.
Wow, and another penetrating pass. They're off to the races.
Yeah. Patient, just looking for their opportunities. And we can see there, despite the rain coming down, they're happy to put up those little passes, whether they're hammers, scubas. That was a really lovely throw out to Fujioka, just to give her a little bit more space. She's looking for the hammer, telling everyone she wants the hammer.
Oh, and a huge reach from Andrews, making it hard.
Back to Fujioka.
Number 5, it's Kobayashi on that sideline.
Again, Japanese being really patient with the disc, but Australia making them work hard. Rob Andrews doing a lot of work around the mark there.
Beautiful splits move from Fujioka. She's everywhere at this point.
She really is the central point of their offense here. And, you know, there's looks like
there is a stall called on the field.
Stall out call from Rob Andrews.
We have a contested stall.
I thought for a moment that Andrews had called a foul.
Contested. This goes back to the thrower.
They're just discussing it now.
Retracted. Rob Andrews retracted the call.
So that scuba will stick with number 19.
Very good spirit from the Australian player.
Koike with the disc.
Oh, wow. Andrews' effort around that mark has paid off. Gets a big block. High forehand release.
Unfortunate there from Spragg.
Japan will get another chance here. And again, it's back in the hands of Fujioka. She's not uncomfortable with a high stall count, always just looking for her options. And they're just looking to thread it through those Australian players there. This is where they've had the most success tonight, just that quick movement, lots of pivots and fakes to get the defense out of their way. Oh! That is a fantastic block there by Lockie Wise. Back with Tullett. Straight away to Cat Phillips. The Australians now. That was another close opportunity from the Japanese. Australians now, and Tullett just launches. This is a pretty good matchup. And Lochlan Wise brings it down.
Oh, it's
and
Wise
just
at both
like
ends.
that. Wow. Just like that, Australia's taken half.
That was a serious point. Both teams with good opportunities, good blocks, and also good pressure building opportunities. Japan had the disc on their end zone line, and that's a huge score. I mean, the difference between 6-3 and 7-2 to come out at half and to come to for the Japanese team to now be looking at the scoreboard, having to make up a gap like that in the second half, it's a massive difference.
In a 13-point game, absolutely. I mean, absolutely they can do it, but that's a great point to get. We're just seeing again.
This is going to be the hand block, I believe. No, I think maybe
this is where some foot block coming from Andrews. There it is.
Oh, there it is.
Wow, he read that really well. I mean, I think a fascinating tussle. That point was Fujioka really, running the show for the Japanese in the middle there, and not seeming to be too bothered by Andrews' mark. A little bit of a differential there.
I love that she's still got a grin on her face even after throwing that intercept to Lochlan Wise. Oof.
Oh, that was pretty close for Koike there.
Yeah, he had another opportunity, but wow.
And then Tullett just spies that gap, and he backs Lockie Wise.
And, I mean, we can't stress enough, the rain has not stopped on this field. No. To be able to bomb 60-meter flicks consistently just to the advantage of a receiver, I mean, that is just an elite skill.
Oh, I mean, that's a great throw. He really put everything he had into that one, Tullett.
Yeah. Tom Tullett, nicknamed Cupcake, obviously has played internationally. He's played with many teams, even in Australia. Currently on Colony, which is the current reigning Australian men's champions, and also plays for Ellipsis, who most recently came third at the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships.
Yeah, and some of our international viewers, I'm sure, will know them from their 2015 win at the US Open.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I believe that there's 7 players from that team on this Croc squad tonight. So, yeah, there's some players that have got some chemistry there already.
Yeah,
it's really showing tonight.
Yeah, that is just absolutely huge. And yeah, I mean that's a big factor here. And we talked about the fact that they're moving from the single gender season to the mixed season at the moment and playing mixed. I mean, we're seeing a lot of the connections, a lot of the really strong connections are coming from those teammates who are playing, who've been playing a full national season, 6 months almost together at a really elite level. That's really benefiting the Australian team at the moment.
I mean, I've been pretty impressed with the quality of the ultimate tonight, given, as you said, that rain just hasn't stopped. It's not absolutely bucketing down, but it's pretty steady.
Yeah.
And it's enough to bother players in normal conditions, but these guys are just elite athletes, and the quality's been excellent.
As we see some highlights from the first half. Yeah, just a really smart defense early on there. Nice bid from LADOMATOS, but it was Tullett's very smart heads-up defense just to kind of stand the lane, make those passes harder. We saw a few of those. Fujioka really just, I mean, on defense, on offense, has been so important for them. She's also, I think she also played that 1996 Worlds with you, Kylie.
1996?
So, I know.
No, she certainly didn't, but she has, she's been playing for a long time.
You're right. She actually started in 1997.
Yeah.
Was her first year playing Ultimate.
Yeah.
And she represented, she's the oldest person on the Japanese team. And cool. And she's represented Japan 2 times at World Games and 5 times at WUGC, the premier event for the for WFDF.
Yeah, and her experience is really showing tonight. Just seeing a recap of that great grab by Ashcroft. Again, it's been impressive as well, even though the Japanese players are often giving away some height to the Australians. They're still very much in the contest with those deep throws.
Absolutely. Okay, so it's I think it would be a great opportunity now to throw to Rob and Andy, who are at Stats, who have been helping us tonight with our stats taking. And they've probably got some numbers that they will be pulling out. So, boys, do you want to have a chat? Yeah. So, great. So we've got Andy Wood. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. I've got a bit of a cough, so apologies if I. Splutter everywhere. But we've been taking stats, and I guess the main one that's come through is just that the Crocs defense has been really firing well. So they've converted 66% of their defensive points. This is sort of similar to tennis statistics if you think about the value of being on serve. The Crocs have really just done a great job breaking there. So they've held all of their offensive points and have converted 4 of their 6 defensive points. And the flip side of that is just that Japan have been having a bit of a struggle the other way around. So they haven't converted any of their defensive points, and they've only held 2 of their 6 offensive points. So that's really the story of the numbers there.
Yeah, that's fair. Are there any other stats you've been pulling out?
We've had a bit of difficulty just with the pace of play, so we've got some numbers
tonight.
Yeah, it's much faster than a regular game of Ultimate, so we've had a little bit of issues with the data entry on that. So the numbers basically tell the same story, which is just that the Crocs are retaining the disc more efficiently, so they're connecting on more of their passes, and that's obviously converting into more goals scored.
Awesome. Well, thank you, boys. We'll be checking back in with you at the end of the game. So keep having a look at that Google Doc if you're a massive nerd and like stats like that.
We're just watching some more highlights from the first half. And it's interesting to see that formation of Japan when they come down on offense. They're very bunched around the center of the field, and it's almost like they fan out from there. And I haven't really seen them looking deep. And they're obviously concerned about the height of the Australians, and probably because they're having a lot of success with that quick, fast movement through the middle. But I wonder if we'll see them changing their plan at all.
It's interesting to see. I totally agree with you in the terms of their throws have certainly not been coming deep. The one big difference I've seen in the points where they've scored versus the ones they haven't is the threatening of the deep cuts, I think, has made a big difference.
Absolutely.
You know, we've seen a lot more players in the Japanese team in those deep, making big, hard cuts that look very threatening. And that's actually been dragging Australian players, where we saw in those first couple of points, the Aussie players were very happy to hang under, to let them go deep a little bit, and they haven't felt as comfortable doing that on defense, the Australians, and that's a credit to the Japanese movement. So, yeah, even though they haven't been throwing them, maybe you're right, maybe we will see a few more throws, but just the threat of it has certainly changed how the Australian defenders have been playing.
As we just watched that unorthodox throw again from Seb Barr.
Yeah, unorthodox is right. It's a hype grab from Mark Evans. Something the team can definitely get around. But yeah, that one almost cleared the stadium in terms of height. You sense that almost the whole Japanese team probably had time to get under it. But it's come off nicely. And yeah, certainly some few lucky moments have gone the Australians' way. We saw the that grab from Wentworth in the middle of the field, bonked off her head, and had the composure, maybe the experience after all these World Games campaigns to hold onto the disc. And yeah, that's certainly been going the Australians' way at the moment there. Oh.
We just saw some replay as well of Ayumi Fujioka just smiling constantly while she's got the mark of Rob Andrews on her. So, but as I say, she's just dealing with it very comfortably. And Rob's putting a lot of pressure there. So
absolutely, yeah. I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to be marked by Rob Andrews. He'd be one of the youngest players on the Australian team easily. He has just been an absolute standout. Probably the most. He's definitely the most recent to have found Ultimate. Started playing at Sydney University. Some of his brothers also play, but he has just been an absolute standout in terms of Australian representation and making it onto Aussie teams at such a young age.
Yeah, I mean, he played the last under-23s tournament in London. I believe he's still eligible for under-23s or under-24s this time around.
That is correct. Currently up for selection for the Australian teams.
Yeah,
first time. See if he makes it.
first time Dingo in 2016. his Sydney University team, who've been doing all the volunteering here tonight, which has been fantastic. The men's team's won the last 2 university championships. Alex LADOMATOS also on that team. So
absolutely, and both Frisky players, of course,
exactly.
current 2-time defending Australian national mixed champions. So they've played together for pretty much their whole ultimate careers almost.
Yeah. So they're really having a glut of success in ultimate, and it's good to see that even with the levels that Rob's playing at, he still cites being the current champion of Manly League as one of his greatest achievements. So, you know, keeping it local. Shout out to the Manly Ultimate community if you're listening tonight.
Yes, absolutely. So good to have them. Man, so, I mean, be a fly on the wall of the Japanese team in the sheds at the moment, Kylie. What are they saying? What's the pump-up speech like when you're 7-2 down? You got to come out in the rain and try and make up this gap against a hometown crowd.
Yeah, I think, you know, for them it's all about execution. The challenge that they have at the moment is the Australians are just really on a roll, and they're not giving them many opportunities once they lose that disc. We obviously don't have the stats in front of us, but I think there's only a couple of times where the Australians gave the disc back to the Japanese. And as you said early on, not even just early on, throughout that first half, there was a bit of red line fever. So the Japanese do a great job of being patient, working it all the way down the field, and then just not being able to convert that last pass. And I think a big part of that is a testament to the Australian pressure on defence, which is really not giving up and making sure that the level of pressure increases as they get closer to that end zone.
Yeah, absolutely. I know they definitely, we've seen it multiple times. You know, one of the Japanese scores came on that zone defense that was held throughout the whole field, but Australia has been very nuanced in terms of changing their defensive attitude and changing their defensive look as Japan has moved throughout the point and through the field, and that has really disrupted, you know, Japan. It's only when you've seen Japan get into a bit of a rhythm that's really changed in their favour. So, I mean, if Australia can keep keeping Japan unsettled, this may be a bit of a short night, Kylie.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I know, talking to head coach Dan Rule before the match started, he's very much looking at these 2 test matches as an opportunity to try out some of the different tactics for World Games. Bearing in mind that the Australians in the lead-up have had 1 selection camp, which happened back in the middle of March. And then since then, we've had our national season, which culminated at the end of April, the single sex, as you were talking about before, Max. And since then, the Australians have just had the 1 camp together. So this is obviously hugely exciting for them to play in the test match, but at the same time, Coach Rule and his team will be using this to really try out and see what's working for them against a high quality opposition.
Absolutely, and I think he'll be happy to maybe have a buffer here to try out a few more of those strategies, see if he throws out anything a little bit new, whether he holds on to it for, of course, second test match, which we have coming up in 2 days' time down in Melbourne at Punt Road Oval. If you are watching this stream from Melbourne, make sure you've got your tickets in advance, and you can find those on the Australian Crocs website, which is www.aussiecrocs.com. So make sure you check that out. And please, I should shout out now, absolutely give them a follow on social media. All their accounts are at Aussie Crocs, so you can find them on Instagram, or you can find them as the Aussie Crocs on Facebook as well, like their page. They've got a lot of great content coming out, especially with the help of one of their assistant coaches, Matt Hill.
And talking of their assistant coaches, they've got quite a big team going to Poland for World Games, but they also have Anna Ragaki, who was the coach of the World Games team in 2013 in Colombia, really helping them on the mental strength side of things. So she's introduced the mental strength program for the Crocs. They've been in phase 1 up until this point. They're just starting to move into the next phase of the campaign. And you know, I think when you've got conditions that are a little bit adverse, like tonight, lots of nerves and adrenaline flying around, your ability to overcome that and really have a of Ashcroft.
Australia
Beautiful grab from
leading
Ashcroft.
8-3.
I mean, again, the Japanese really looked like they were slowing the Australians down, and as they've done over and over this match, the Australians just look for that deep shot, and at the moment it's coming off on them.
Totally, and I mean, you would say, you know, you can't leave Barr unmarked like that. To be honest, as he showed before, he'll throw a backhand from any position on the field, whether there's a defender right on him or whether there's no defenders within 10 meters of him. But he was happy with that one, and maybe with that extra time, that shot to Ashcroft. They're both Heads of State players. Shout out to any Heads of State guys who are watching tonight. All girls. They have a couple of teams now, and had the vision to just hit a pretty crisp pass, and just over the outstretched hands of number 15, Ayumi. rather.
So the Australians able to consolidate again on offense. So.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, we'll see, you know, maybe at the end of the game we'll get some stats on this, but time on field, it makes a massive difference. And when Australia can score I mean, certainly we're slowed down, certainly through a few passes, but in quick succession like that, I mean, that puts a lot of pressure.
We're off again with another great
Beautiful pull.
from Lochlan Wise.
It'll be number 19,
And the
KOIKE grabbing the disc.
and starting right down from that bottom corner. Australia with a lot of resources around the disc. And the Japanese, again, just happy to keep moving with those short, sharp passes. As you were talking about before, Max, just faking for that long shot, move the mark around.
Oh, and they just come in at exactly the right moment.
Oh, big mark from Dignam here.
Oh,
Fujioka again, and she looks long this time.
wow. That is a beautiful pass. What vision there from Fujioka.
Yeah, I mean, really waiting for an opportunity when there's, you know, no tall height in the end zone. Good separation. And a beautifully weighted throw.
Yeah.
And, you know, we talked about this at halftime, that with the Japanese players come out and try a slightly different tactic. Seems like they're prepared to take a chance on that, and really it's going to come down to, can they get any of those breaks back?
Certainly. Well, I mean, yeah, Fujioka there, obviously, she has license to do whatever she wants, and fair enough with shots like that, and how she's been controlling the disc through the middle. Looks fairly unbothered, has been one of the only players unbothered by the Andrews mark, and it's nice to see them Japanese convert a point there. Oh, so
yeah, and Tamura with a beautifully timed cut deep. She really saw that opportunity coming from Fujioka and took it.
So as we say, Kylie, this is where every defense point for Japan is absolutely crucial. You know, you've just got to assume they hold their offenses from now on, and to make it back, they have to start getting the conversions here. Both Phillips on the Australian line, and it's Kat who's the one fielding the pull, who centers it to Barr. Barr, a lot of space. They wait for the defense to set up. Blakely, beautiful inside move there. 31, poaching in the lane. Nice grab there from Phillips. It's Kat on the sideline. Throws nicely. It's Dawson who has the disc. Looks upfield to the other Phillips. It's Mish. Happy working it in this very small space at the moment. Phillips pivots around. Blakely again. Oh, and a nice little inside. Taking a page out of the Japanese players' books. Ashcroft.
Wow.
With a hammer. The first hammer to score that we've seen in this game. But in the end, made it look easy, effortless almost.
Absolutely. And I mean, he really had great vision there, because that throw was into a lot of space. And, you know, when you've got a wide open throw,
massive.
Back yourself, and that's what he's done.
Yeah. Australia very happy to work it, and that Blakely inside flick, of course, really nice pass.
And like you said, they were working in quite a small space initially up this sideline close to us. And then they just look so much like they have so much more time when they break out into that break space, use the width of the field, and then pick their targets.
They just have such confidence at the moment in this point in their primary players coming off and in their dump to be able to get open in 1, 2, up to 3 seconds, because it means that just gives them another 2, 3, or 4 seconds to look upfield. And that's what you saw a few times, those upfield passes. They got 15-meter passes, whereas other teams would start to look to engage the dump earlier. Crocs are happy to sit it out, find an upfield option that was maybe a bit later, because they trust their dump to get open.
Slow clap for the pool.
Crowd getting involved now with a slow clap for the pool. I mean, obviously it's a primarily Australian cheering crowd here, but they want to see a contest, so they're going to be absolutely cheering for the Japanese to get back involved in this one and really make it a...
Yeah, and you saw a big cheer, of course, when that Fujioka huck went up. Nice chase down there. 22 Honno with the disc in the middle. Oh! And we'll see what happens here. There was a pick called.
There's a pick call.
The big happen before the throw.
Everyone seems quite happy for it to be... Oh yeah, before the throw, so it's back to the thrower.
Koike from the Osaka Spirits with the disc on that sideline. Here we are with our favorite Fujioka now. 1-2, 1-2. They got a lot more space now, the Japanese. Threaten the deep shot.
Again with threatening the deep shot. Australians are doing a great job of just really cutting them down on that continuation. But then the Japanese just go back to their bread and butter, which is those inside passes to hit those breaks, and then they just work it in.
Yeah, Kunieda, the American-born Japanese player there, finishing it off nicely to Kobayaki. Kobayaki, one of the highest stats getters at the World Ultimate Guts Championships in 2016. She got a total of 13 stats, 8 goals and 5 assists, so she was crucial for that women's team. Yeah, you can see why with just a perfectly timed cut.
Leading, but just Japan is not giving up.
Nice speed.
Completely open match.
Yeah. Very, very nice pass to finish it off there.
Absolutely.
Geez, and the rain has eased off a little bit, but it just hasn't stopped. So a lot of the Australian players playing with the black, the sports lines, the tar under their eyes. See the mascara starting to run a little bit, but it's just the sky tears, not the tears from their eyes at the moment.
So we find ourselves a point closer and seeing whether Japan can get that elusive defensive break.
Yeah, this will be, again, every single one of these matters so much. Once again,
straight to Barr in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
The Japanese mixing up their defense a little bit. Not a lot of pressure on the two handlers here, but looking for spaces. Phillips with the disc. Out to Evans. Characteristic turn for the Australians, and now the Japanese team gets their chance. Oh. Good pressure from Barr. The Australians right on the heels of the Japanese team, but again, they...
Great defense from Australia.
Good peel off the back there from Phillips. Saw that coming.
Oh.
Great bid by the Japanese player, but Ashcroft able to get it.
Nice.
The Australians just looking a little bit unsettled now. They want to get back into their rhythm quickly, and there's Barr.
Geez, that one's going to be a close one.
I think that was...
Kat is calling it up.
It's called up. Okay.
There'll be a little bit of talk on the field. How about that Rosie Dawson grab, though, in the middle there? Oh.
Discussion whether the disc is up or down.
And here we go. We'll check the instant replay. Geez, it's very inconclusive. You see a bit of a wobble there. Frame rate not...
A little blurry.
Not quite close enough to tell. And we'll see how this gets resolved. That Dawson grab in the middle I was pretty big into. Oh, and from the other angle, let's have a look. Jeez, the hand is under it.
It's a contested up call.
It's a tough one to say. From the view of the commentary booth, I'm calling it down. Do you agree, Kylie?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. I mean, I think very close to call. Hard to see on the frame there. I think it's fair that one's at least going back for a rethrow.
Yeah, the hand is nicely under it. And
Barr just throws the same throw, and as we've said a number of times tonight, Barr to Blakely.
There you go. How about that? Oof. So that's a tough one for the Japanese team. Yeah, I mean, in the moment, if you think you caught it, you got to say you caught it. But yeah, the Japanese with an opportunity there, they got a block. They had the chance. They couldn't convert.
And they did start to look for that longer throw again. Slight overthrow there, and Cat Phillips, ever ready at the back of the Australian defence there, just peels off and picks it up.
Yeah, Fujioka was making that deep cut and had taken Phillips with her, but in the end that upline pass was just way too far out into space, and Phillips, the great heads-up defender that she is, picked it off fairly easily in the end. But yeah, some nice grabs in the middle of the field there. The Dawson set to grab just kind of went over her head. She just knocked it up and then put it into a favourable position for her. Really like that. Some huge bids from the Japanese. You can tell that they want to get back in this game, you know. That the transition maybe there just happened at not quite the right time. They left a big gap behind them, and that gave Australia a few easy passes, unfortunately. So it's a Japanese offense this time, and another excellent pull. This one right on the close to the commentary sideline. Japan moving it, number 19 there with the disc, Koike. It's back across to 22, Honor. Honor once again, back to Koike. Koike rather, I should be saying Koike. Inamura, the handlers, moving it confidently. Australia threatening, but they're not really putting in a big stand here. The Australians now happy, it's moved across. Giving an option in the middle. There's not a lot of pressure here. The Japanese will be happy to just keep marching it up the field. We'll see if there's a change here late in the field, but at the moment, they've got an open pass every time.
Yeah, the Australians playing more of a Japanese style of zone here. Not a lot of pressure on the mark, but really trying to hold that space in the middle, and that's the opportunity they were looking for there.
Yeah, commentators curse that the pressure was there, just was hidden from even the commentary booth in the Japanese team. Unfortunately, now Australia with a shot. There's a deep look looking. Phillips also happy to hit it across field hammer to Wise. Wise hits Andrews on the sideline. Looks off that inside out. Bit of a challenging one, but he may still throw it. And there we see it. There's a slow movement. It's in the field. Wow, and that is another goal to the Australian team. As predicted, an inside out there, using his width to get around the Japanese mark, and wasn't the perfect throw he was maybe looking for, but it was good enough to stay in the air and in the field. Boom, and that is Australia now 2 points away from winning this first test match in Sydney.
Yeah, it's great to see a change up there with the defense from the Australians. And, you know, we just talked about it being similar to the Japanese style where there's not a lot of pressure on the mark, but still looking for opportunities to get blocks, and Tullett renowned for his defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, if there was anyone to get that block, it was Tullett. I mean, we saw a great heads-up D from Dennis earlier in the game, but Tullett gets some of the most amazing blocks just through his sense of the game. You know, he doesn't actually have to be looking at the disc, takes a quick look, knows what's happening, and then throws his body on the line at the moment exactly when it's needed. And it's one of his great skills, so just through experience. As we see it again, hits that pass, and Tullett,
beautifully timed.
Yeah, comes out of seemingly nowhere to get that block. So Australia on defense now. It's 4 ladies, another 4 women point. And Japan, now 6 points in the hole, will need to hold this offense.
Mark Evans with the pull for Australia.
Japanese team signal their readiness.
Good pull from Evans. Forcing the bounce for the Japanese player to pick it up. Another hammer. She's just so comfortable throwing those into the space. Again, we see this situation with Japanese players happy to move it around and being forced to keep it nice and shallow by the Australians. Lots of passes for not much distance. We know they're just looking for 1 or 2 passes so they can really start to penetrate through that zone.
Australian defense here, very interesting. Kind of moves as the field moves.
Japan getting into a little bit more flow now. Just not quite able to find that rhythm that they usually work with.
Australia almost just got 4 pretty much square across the field. And yeah, really nice little zone here. Bit of pressure as Dawson runs over to contain it.
Yep. Inamura again with the disc.
Oh, push pass like it's nothing.
Japanese really just biding their time now.
Oh.
Fujioka directing traffic. Now they've got that pass through, but the Australians have managed to slow them down again.
Oh. It's just ice and fire for the Japanese, isn't it? It's go, 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 and then patience.
They get into that red zone area again.
Hunting a block, the Australian team.
Absolutely.
Oh, and on the end zone line.
Wow.
I mean, that's what we expect from a Japanese team, right? The Australian team did a very good job, and you could sense that they were just sniffing the opportunities, but the Japanese really soaked up the pressure and just pass by pass just wore them down until the space opened up right in that end zone corner.
Yeah, and I think with that point in particular, Japan really managed to ride those tempo changes throughout the point. So as you said, they're moving the disc quickly and then they get slowed up and they're able to be patient and then get moving quickly again. And I think perhaps that's what's happened with a few of their other points tonight. As the tempo's changed, they haven't quite been able to adjust, and that's where some of the turns have come. So yeah, that's more the style that we'd expect to see from them.
I totally agree. And I think just that in terms of that tempo and that rhythm, the Australians have been very good at upsetting that Japanese tempo and rhythm, and the Japanese in turn have not been particularly good at upsetting that Australian movement. So, I mean, that's been really the story of the night, is that rhythm and flow, and at that point, the Japanese really hit their stride.
Absolutely.
Oof, and this may be another bricked pull, unfortunately, from the Japanese team. And that's not what you need when you're chasing down a 5-point lead.
You don't want to give up those meters.
No.
With no pressure.
Exactly. And as we see, Australia once again setting up in this this five-player upfield set. Barr confidently walks to it. They've now got, it's 2-3-2 for the Australians. And we'll see if they can find the space. Oh, and a lovely inside. Japan still in a junky set here, holding it all the way to the end zone line. It's Mich Phillips. She's played a year in Japan. Ashcroft with the disc. He's been a star for them tonight. Uses speed to go up the line. Another beautiful inside out from Phillips. Oh, and a nice scuba. Wow. And yeah, really, Australia displaying exactly the same patience and inventive throws that have been that we would associate with Japan, but they've been the ones who've been demonstrating that style tonight really excellently.
And I think because of their consistency tonight, and their reluctance to give Japan the disc, that's forced Japan to keep trying to change it up. But the Australians have just adapted to the changes. They've looked for the deep shots when they've been there. But if they've had to play short, they've been really comfortable doing that as well. And that makes it really hard for the defensive team when they're able to adapt to different styles with relative ease.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it at the start. The scoreboard says 11, but it's now 12-6. And we talked about it at the very start. It's just like, this game's to 13. Make it challenging. You may only get one strong momentum shift in a game. Whereas in a game to 15, you could expect 2, maybe even 3 or more. In a game to 13, you just can't expect that many more. And that's certainly been the story tonight. The Australians have had it almost all their way at this stage. So it's game point to the Australians, but it will be the Japanese starting on offense.
Lucky Wise with the pull, another big arcing pull. Landing in and again, bouncing. Oh, great chase up there by LADOMATOS. Again, the pressure is just relentless from the Australians at the moment.
Yeah, they're showing the hammer there, but they safely move it around. They've got number 16, Tamura, on the sideline. LADOMATOS looking to get his block in his hometown. An opportunity there for Wise. Oh. Unfortunate there from Kawase.
And again, we see the Japanese, once they get through the middle of that junk, really comfortable now, looking for the longer throws. Unfortunate in that situation not to convert.
Totally. Wise now with an opportunity. Australia have a chance to win this first test match in Sydney at Leichhardt Oval. Wise with the disc, calling his shots. High stall count here. LADOMATOS there for the bailout. Hits Tullett, their teammates on Colony. A big deep shot coming. Tullett not afraid to hit that. Oh, Andrews. Even Andrews, who's was one of the fastest at the under-23 camp last weekend, can't reel it in. So Japan with the disc again, keeping this game interesting and alive. Oh, an inside out. This could be the opportunity now. Australians streaming quickly to the end zone. Andrews unmarked. The Japanese players now with it. This is it.
Lefty, Rob Andrews closes the game.
Just like that.
Wow.
Andrews to Prentice.
The Japanese team, you see them they can't really believe it, and I can't really either.
We can't believe it either. Not what we would have expected at the start of the game, Max.
No, and that was a quick 55 minutes. As we just watch on replay, just easy finish. And it's Rob showing a beautiful lefty backhand there.
Thank you again, everyone.
Inside backhand and inside flick.
First international test match ever.
There we have it, Max.
Let's all give
first
a big clap
international
again for
test match done.
Just huge. I mean, you can talk about the narrative of that game, but I mean, Australia just displayed poise, adaptability, and just rhythm, amazing connections for a group of people who have only had precious little time to play together. Really used what they had. Japan, uncharacteristically flustered. We saw it in that first point, and although they got it back together more at the end, it didn't change that much.
No, I mean, it'll be fascinating to see what happens next in Melbourne. As we've alluded to, Japanese players off the plane this morning, they'll have a couple of days of recovery under their belt when they get to Melbourne. And the way that this test series will work will be, firstly, obviously, if one team wins 2 games, they win the series. If it's 1 game apiece, we go to goal difference.
And if that's still tied, then the winner of the final test match, which will be in Melbourne in 2 days' time, they will be the victors. So Japan, if they'll need to crush the Australians in Melbourne, but they still have an opportunity to take home the cup. And it is a big trophy, I promise you that.
Yeah, the golden Wattle Sakura Cup is what we're playing for at the moment. So cherry blossoms, obviously huge in Japan and very much associated with that country.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the trophy that the teams are playing for. So
yeah,
the team's in a huddle, and I think we're sure if we're able to get in there and listen to what's happening in the
No, it would be very interesting to see. We'll get a final view from
after the Spirit Circle. We'll have the presentation of the Golden Wattle Sakura Cup,
and let's have a chat now to Andy Wood, who is one of our stats takers this game. Rat Stats, Rob and Andrew, and Rob and Andy take stats. Now, what was your impression? What are the big stats you see coming out of this game, boys?
The second half was very similar to the first half, I'd say. So the Australian offense throughout the game was perfect, so they never actually were broken. And then their defense continued on, so their defense ended up with 6 breaks out of 12 points. That sort of comes through in the possession statistics as well. We missed some passes just because we had some difficulty with the line calls, but Japan ended up throwing 170 passes throughout the game, whereas Australia only threw 120. So you can see that that's sort of just a much more efficient offense there, and really is a testament to how hard the Crocs defense was working throughout that game.
Yeah, certainly something we'd say was it would be indicative of a Japanese style is to throw more passes. But still, you know, you talk about time on offense, and a big part of that would be touches. So just having to put the same line on a few times for the Japanese team, I'm sure made a big difference.
Yeah, especially just for the pace of this game. It was going at a rapid rate, and you could see how hard the players were working on the field, and having to throw more passes as the game goes on is obviously going to lead to some more tired legs. So, yeah.
Yeah, huge. And you'll be joining us, of course, at the Melbourne Test Match.
Yes, we are coming down to Melbourne. We're very excited to be getting flown down there to do stats.
Awesome.
And yeah, we'll see you there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, apologies for potentially talking a little bit over the circle chats there, but yeah, it's nice to see the spirit between the two teams. I'm sure they will be very excited to get another opportunity to play down in Melbourne. So
yeah, we're looking forward to Melbourne, aren't we, Max?
That's it. So we'll be joining you from the commentary booth in beautiful Melbourne. It's the game will be at 11:30. Sorry, at I should say at 1:30. Is that right? Well, check your local broadcaster for the time.
Split the difference, 12:30.
Yeah, exactly. Sometime in the early morning. But yeah, a thrilling second half as we watch the highlights from both teams. It's great to see Japan get a few points on the board, really hit their rhythm. And I think that will give them confidence going into the next game, Kylie.
Absolutely. And, you know, as we've talked about tonight, uncharacteristic mistakes from Japan. And no doubt that they'll remedy that.
And what a beautiful place to finish. Great spirit between these two teams. And we are very, very excited to be joining you next time in Melbourne. Thank you for tuning in to the Australian Ultimate Frisbee stream of the first test match between the Australian Crocs and Japanese Hayate. We'll see you in Melbourne. Thanks, Kylie.
Good night, everybody, and see you in Melbourne.
Don't forget, everyone, to watch the streaming on Sunday morning. It's going to be the rematch, Japan versus Australia. And everyone, come out to the Golden Orange Grove Hotel, Marlene Road, 800 meters from here. Street deals for drinks and food.